John, you talked about the enthusiasm for the game and keeping the passion here for the game growing. In regards to the media coverage, where you see Golf Channel, even for a small tournament, have a post-game show, in comparison where for Tennis Channel or even for ESPN, where you may not have a post-game show like Eurosport does Game Set Match and have a full comprehensive review of what happened. Do you feel that the media coverage in this country for tennis, in comparison to, say, golf, is severely lacking in terms of maximizing all of the quality that we see on tour from both tours, and how it needs to represent it needs to help contribute to the enthusiasm of the game growing back here to when you played in your prime?
That's there's a lot into that question you asked, but this is a numbers game in a way, and I can't speak for an ESPN or Tennis Channel. They do that based on what they think is going to be best for the ratings. So we're all culpable. It's not just them. I mean, if the ratings, everyone said, why don't they have doubles on TV? Well, because if they've got ratings, there'd be doubles on TV. That's why. Is one reason, and so you watch. Yesterday, I was in Tennis Chat watching them play Georgia versus Georgia Tech. I'm like, what the hell, Georgia versus Georgia Tech? Then you're saying, well, that's something. No, I don't know if Georgia or Georgia Tech paid the Tennis Channel to put that on, or what happened there. And they cut from Wawrinka at 5-6 first set, I believe, to the next thing I know, it's the first round of the tournament in Ecuador. Somebody, Nicholas Jarry versus somebody. Now, I don't know what the hell was going on as far as that went, and Tennis Channel is picking up for free the feeds of places all over the place, and that's good for tennis fans. I'm like watching tennis. There's more available than there ever been. But as far as, we can't expect people to just do that, and ESPN. Hey, let's get the ESPN to put on this guy over here, he works for ESPN. Let's get him to put an ESPN. Oh, sure, yeah. Well, what happens if well, listen, by the way, the ratings for this post-game show, unless Serena or Rogers on, is 1/8 of what SportsCenter is. What do you think they're going to do? So we have to sort of figure out ways to make this game more exciting and interesting, and to get to the point. I don't think we do a great job showing how truly unique and great this sport is and can be. I think we don't do a good job. Look at these poor guys that play football. They're cripples, half these poor guys, and they have brain damage and concussions and God knows what else. And if you told Gronkowski, who looked like he was still dinging from the other concussion he had, if you said to him the day before that Super Bowl, you're going to lose a year of your life if you played this game tomorrow, I guarantee you, I would have bet money he would have said, I'm playing anyway. And most of those guys feel the same way. And we have to, as tennis players, sort of, we're lucky. We don't have those same type of issues that they have. We have other issues, not as extreme, and we've got other things that we have to deal with. That we travel a lot more, and people we got to get people to understand, if you get guys here that aren't necessarily very well-known quantities, isn't our job to get people to get to know them better, so they have a rooting interest? Or the Laver Cup was Davis Cup back when people seemed to be interested in it. There's a perfect example. I play Davis Cup for 15 years. I was part of 5 Davis Cup teams. I didn't play the Australian for a bunch of years. Ask me how many times in the last 5 years people have asked me, how many Davis Cup teams were you part of that won the Davis Cup? 0. Now, to me, it was some of the greatest moments in my life to be part of these teams and win it, but no one asked me, how many times did you win a shot? None. So these organizations are all over the place that run tennis. Everyone's got their own priorities, but I mean, it's somewhat understandable, but some people, we can see, Novak was down in Australia saying that players should have a union. The first time that was said, I believe 1970 something, and we were saying that in 78. So he's like, why are we in, no disrespect to Josh here running this event, why are we in partnership with the tournament directors? Or if we're going to be in partnership with someone, why don't we be in partnership with Wimbledon and the US Open? I think at the moment they're better situated, like financially. They probably, the upside there would be better for the players. So it's like, and then like, oh, how dare him say something like that? What? Anyone that's been around me, any ATP guy, I see ATP guys floating around back there the past 40 years. We've been saying the same thing, and the sooner that we get to some of these places, the better. I've now call myself the self-appointed commissioner of tennis. I don't give a damn. I do my own things, and I try to do it in a lighthearted, fun way. But you go out and you try to say things. I've been saying a lot of these same things for a long time, and hopefully I'll continue to say them, because the truth is that I've been pretty lucky. I'm sitting here about to go play an exhibition match 40 years after I started playing on the professional tour. So I see where I feel sort of in some ways obligated is the wrong word, but I want to sort of see this sport left in a better place than when it was exploding. I was a part of this time which was like fantastic. It felt like we were in the front page, and we don't see that the same way. So if you told me in 10 years that all of a sudden we'd be talking about these great young American girls and guys at the top of the game, and tennis was being talked about, and we had more of these post-match talk shows you're talking about, I'd be happy.
Mm-hmm.